What if I told you about a fight so outrageous, so mismatched, and so wildly intriguing that it had fans buzzing for years, even though it never actually happened? Picture this: Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet, known for his devastating power and raw intensity, going toe to toe with Bob Sapp, a 6'5", 350-pound behemoth nicknamed the Beast. It sounds like the setup for a movie, but for a brief moment in the early 2000s, it almost became reality. Today, we're taking a deep dive into this hypothetical showdown. We'll explore Tyson's rise and fall, Sapp's larger-than-life career, and the media frenzy around this matchup. We'll also look at why it never happened and why it could have meant for combat sports. Buckle up, fight fans. This one's a wild ride right here on Sports Frenzy TV. To understand the appeal of this fight, we need to start with Mike Tyson. In the 80s and early 90s, Tyson wasn't just a boxer. He was a phenomenon. At 20 years old, he became the youngest heavyweight champion in history, and he didn't just win fights, he demolished his opponents. Tyson's style was terrifyingly effective. He fought using the peekaboo technique, bobbing and weaving his way past punches before delivering knockout blows with incredible speed and precision. But Tyson wasn't just about power. His ability to intimidate opponents was legendary. Fighters would step into the ring already beaten mentally, knowing they were facing a man who seemed almost superhuman. Tyson's nickname, Iron Mike, wasn't just a marketing gimmick, it was a statement of fact. However, by the late 90s, cracks began to show. Tyson suffered high-profile losses to Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis. His personal life was also spiraling out of control, with legal issues and financial troubles dominating headlines. By the early 2000s, Tyson was still a name that drew crowds, but he wasn't the unstoppable force he once was. He was looking for ways to stay relevant and pay the bills. Enter Bob Sapp. If Tyson was the quintessential boxer, Sapp was the ultimate spectacle. Standing 6'5" and weighing around 350 pounds, Sapp looked like he was pulled straight out of a comic book. His size alone made him a star, but he also had a personality to match. Sapp was loud, charismatic, and over the top in everything he did. Sapp's career was as unconventional as it gets. He started as an NFL lineman before transitioning to combat sports. In K1 kickboxing and MMA, he quickly became a fan favorite, not necessarily for his skill, but for his sheer physical presence and ability to generate chaos in the ring. He wasn't the most technical fighter, but he didn't need to be. His strategy was simple: overwhelm opponents with his size and power. What really set Sapp apart, though, was his popularity in Japan. Over there, he was more than a fighter. He was a full-blown celebrity. He appeared on commercials, TV shows, and even movies. Sapp dolls and posters were everywhere. He embraced his larger-than-life persona and became one of the biggest stars in Japanese combat sports. So, how did these two worlds collide? In 2003, after one of Sapp's fights in Las Vegas, Tyson made a surprise appearance. He stepped into the ring, grabbed the mic, and called Sapp out, saying, "Sign the contract, big boy." The crowd went wild. In that moment, the idea of Tyson versus Sapp became more than just a fantasy. It became a possibility. Fans couldn't stop talking about it. On paper, the matchup seemed ridiculous. Tyson, at 5'10" and around 225 pounds, was dwarfed by Sapp's 6'5" frame and 350-pound weight. But that was part of the appeal. It wasn't just about a fight, it was about the spectacle. Could Tyson's legendary power and skill overcome Sapp's overwhelming size? Or would Sapp's sheer physicality be too much for even Tyson to handle? Let's imagine how the fight might have played out. First, there's Tyson. Even in his later years, his knockout power was no joke. His strategy would have been to close the distance, slip past Sapp's long reach, and land devastating combinations to the body and head. Tyson's speed and experience would have been key factors. On the other side, Sapp's best chance would have been to use his size to his advantage. If he could keep Tyson at a distance and allowed a few big shots early, he might have overwhelmed him. But Sapp's lack of technique and stamina were well-documented weaknesses. If the fight went past a couple of rounds, it would have swung heavily in Tyson's favor. The clash of styles, Tyson's precision and power versus Sapp's brute strength, would have made for an unforgettable fight. Add in their personalities, and you've got a recipe for one of the most entertaining bouts in combat sports history. With all that hype, why didn't the fight happen? The answer is complicated. For one, Tyson wasn't fully committed to fighting at the time. He was dealing with personal struggles and wasn't in peak physical condition. On the other hand, Sapp's career was starting to decline. While he was still a star, his performances in the ring were becoming more inconsistent. There were also rumors of behind-the-scenes issues. Some said Tyson didn't want to fight under K1 rules, while others claimed Sapp was hesitant to risk his reputation against a boxing legend. Whatever the case, negotiations stalled and the fight never materialized. Instead, Tyson went on to participate in other exhibition bouts, including his much-hyped fight with Roy Jones Jr. in 2020. Sapp, meanwhile, continued his career in MMA and kickboxing, though his performances became increasingly erratic. Even though Tyson vs. Sapp never happened, it represents something bigger, the enduring appeal of fantasy matchups. Fans love these hypothetical showdowns because they're not just about skill or technique. They're about personalities, storylines, and the unpredictability of combat sports. We've seen this play out in recent years with fights like Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. These matchups might not always make sense on paper, but they tap into something primal, the excitement of watching two giants collide. So, what would have happened if Tyson and Sapp had fought? Honestly, it's hard to say. Tyson's experience and power would have made him the favorite, but Sapp's size was a game changer. It's a kind of fight where everything could happen. One scenario is Tyson landing a devastating punch early, overwhelming Sapp with his speed and power. Another possibility is Sapp using his size to bully Tyson, landing a few big shots and forcing an early stoppage. Either way, it would have been a spectacle for the ages. But beyond the outcome, the fight would have been a cultural event. It would have symbolized the blending of different combat sports and the power of personalities in driving fan interest. Even today, fans still talk about it, wondering what might have been. At the end of the day, Tyson vs. Sapp is one of the greatest what-ifs in combat sports history. It's a reminder of why we love these sports, not just for the fights, but for the stories, the drama, and the larger-than-life characters. Tyson, the boxing legend, and Sapp, the combat sports entertainer, would have been a matchup for the ages. So what do you think? Could Tyson's experience and power have overcome Sapp's size and strength? Or would the beast have been too much for Iron Mike? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of combat sports. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.